Okay, today we're going to look at what I consider to be an average health chart for people, and this one is particularly about cancer, but it's true about all diseases in to some extent. A lot of diseases have nothing to do with toxins in the liver, so that's not true. But so, for instance, if we were talking about, well, let's go ahead and talk about the cancer first. So the top line is a line of 100% hydration rate, and that means that you're fully well for the most part, but you can still be unwell and still have a hydration rate of 100% because of parasites. When I talk about parasites, I talk about parasites in general, and I consider bacteria and even smaller parasites as parasites. So, I mean, it's something else living in your body that's not supposed to be there, is what I'm saying. Anyway, let's go back. The bottom line is the line of 0% hydration, which is exactly the same thing as death, because once your hydration goes to 0, you're dead. You may die from a lot of other things, but you're still dead if you don't have hydration. So we have a realm between these two, this top and this bottom black line, these two lines, and I'm calling the green line, the middle dotted line, an average health level, and that's probably pretty much true for the average person in this world, United States. The world may vary quite a bit, but I think the United States is pretty much going to fall in that line. And our hydration level is that squirrely pink line that the hydration level is an average of. And we all go, as we're told, into a cancerous condition every once in a while, and then you can see where that line varies into the pink cancer region. So but we get back out of it right away, so it's not going to affect us much. As a matter of fact, we never know that we've been there. It's something that just happens and it doesn't affect us at all. But if, for instance, that line of cancer, which is I call arbitrary and per the individual's toxins in their liver, if that line rises up, in other words, if your toxins increase and it goes above that green line, you got cancer whether or not your hydration level changes. But if the hydration level drops down to below the cancer line, you'll also have cancer. So these are some of the variables that go on. So your cellular hydration line varies with your water intake, but you can't take enough water to raise it very far. And that's one of the things that Dan Nelson talks about in his videos, is that no matter how much water you drink after a certain point, as long as the particle size, which is measured in nanometers, is not raised above, if the particle size is not raised below 0.4 nanometers, you're going to have an average level that you can't exceed, and that's again the squirrely line. And it doesn't matter how much more of it you drink, as he says, it just isn't going to get above that. So one way or another, you're going to have to find some water that increases the absorption rate, which is dependent on the particle size of the water, to something in the order of 0.4 nanometers. This line will raise above with the toxic exposure, that you get. This arbitrary line and this thick dotted pink line. So if you get a good dose of say radiation poisoning, or you get around some kind of asbestos or whatever chemical that will raise that pink line above the average health level, you got cancer anyway, no matter how much water you drink. So it works. These are all variable lines, and that's the whole point of this chart, is to teach you or show you. I'm sure everybody's aware that this is pretty much true, whether I say it or not. But it's something that you might not have considered. And the whole point of what we're doing with this healing water that I'm telling you about, and by the way, just this last week, an MD contacted Rich and told him that one of his patients who had terminal cancer in lots of places in his body, including brain cancer. I don't like to hear people call cancer by its region, because it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I pointed that out in another video. Cancer's cancer. It's a toxic rate in the liver that the liver can't deal with, and so it has to occur. So if you call it lung cancer, the only difference in it is that if it's in a vital organ, it can kill you pretty fast. For instance, if you have liver cancer, you're not going to live very long, chances are, unless you do something very, very radical. And as I pointed out also, you can do things that are pretty radical. You can change something that isn't in this chart, and that is your outlook if you get cancer, and that can lower these lines that may be raised for various reasons, and an outlook that is very loving and not pessimistic will lower the lines. It'll raise your average health level and lower the cancer line. So all these things go together in a way. And now let me talk about what other diseases do. And we're talking about things like type 2 diabetes. Obviously, a person with type 2 diabetes has these same kinds of charts, and the line that you would be concerned about mostly with type 2 diabetes would be where your sugar is. And you can go to the doctor and get that measurement, and if the sugar line raises up to a certain point, the disease line lowers, and you've got the disease. So it's the same variable kind of thing with every disease. The one disease which I also don't consider a disease is heart disease. I consider heart disease a problem with hardening arteries, something that doctors are aware of, but I don't think they quite get the extent of what can happen with it, or they don't have any idea how to get rid of it. So, and I've told you before that methylation and sulfur, which softens the whole circulatory system altogether, will raise the average health level considerably, and it'll do it really fast. I would say within a year's time, you're going to have arteries and veins too that will be more like a baby's than what they are today, even if you have hardened arteries. when you start. I have no proof of that, but I do have proof that people that don't get strokes for the most part. I've never heard of anybody getting a stroke when they're on high level MSM. And I have people telling me all the time that, you know, they used to have this condition, that condition, and it's gone. So these all go together. That's the whole story here. I can't possibly tell you in a way that you're going to understand, because nobody's ever tried to convince you that this is true. How important, and I'm talking about most people. I mean, there are certainly people that are coming here that get what I'm talking about, but for the most part, nobody even has a clue what a fractal is, or how they're applied, or how they're used, and how they can change your life. And what I'm going to show you is a fractal in motion. And hurricanes are fractals. I've said this before. Circular storms of all types are fractals. Trees are fractals. Streams are fractals. Your circulatory system is a fractal. But the way we use them is as designs, geometric designs, and they're sacred geometry. And when they are used as fractal filters in a fractal stack, they virtually change everything in terms of your health. We can modulate things that happen to you in ways that nobody's ever done before. Well, at least in the last couple of thousand years, anyway. Maybe they were once done that way. I don't know. We don't know for sure, but it said they were.